Recording in progress.
Thank you. I'm going to see if Grace is on the way. Oh. Okay. So you're not going to be here. Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah. I mean, you can on things in general, but we're trying to get Philip.
Depends on the form, what's the, what's the county? Grace,
You, well, you can participate fully. But just need to alert Josh. I guess I could.
if they're on, is
Oh.
Maggie's coming online. She
I'll
can't,
talk to him in just a second. Yeah, so during the regular meeting, it's time for you to speak and to vote. It's just the it has to be a quorum present to for the swearing in. Okay. So I got to get off. Talk to you later.
yes.
Okay, Josh. And Grace is also a panelist. I just spoke to her. She's going to participate from. She's Grace Nichols, or her. It might be it. Yeah, Erica's her husband.
Yeah, we got it.
Okay, that taken care of. I think we should call the meeting to order. And looking up and seeing that Angie is here already, I think we're gonna rearrange the agenda a little bit. But first of all, let's take a moment to ground ourselves. Okay. All right, so agenda adoption. A modification here would be down under old business, you see swearing in of new board members. Maggie is viewing us from via Zoom this morning and will be taking notes, but she that's enough said at the moment. And but we do have Phil with us, and so what I'd like to do is take this piece, the swearing in and the election part, and move them up to now so that we can get our business underway. And so Maggie can, I mean, Angie can go all to the other meeting that she's supposed to be in. So thank you for being with us, Angie. The Phil is here, and 2 out of 3 sounds like more than half. So I think we do have a quorum. Is that correct? At the moment, we have only 3 more board members. So. Yeah, they're viewing, but in terms of present, the present in the room is what you told me was needed, but
I'm here. This is Grace.
okay.
I'm unmuted.
Okay, well, it's different from what I understood, but that's okay. We have enough. We're ready to go. Yes. Would it be possible to get her picture on so that we can view her?
She may not.
I've
So
been up since
Grace,
5.
if you wish, you can turn your camera on. But we know you're there.
Okay, I'm one of those stick figures without feet and legs. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you.
So, so Maggie, as I said, is not able to be here in person today. So we're going to have to wait on her stuff until next time. But Phil is here and I'm very appreciative of him being here. So I know you made the extra effort to be up here. And so I would say let's proceed. We want to swear him in and then we'll put him to work.
Do you, Philip Arnold, swear or affirm that you will well and truly execute the duties of the tree board of the town of Montreat according to the best of your knowledge and ability, so help you God? Congratulations.
Welcome to the board. Thank you. Thank you, Angie. Okay. Thank you very much.
You too.
Okay. So I'm going to proceed with the agenda as printed at this point. We've made the change of putting the swearing in earlier in the agenda. So, but it would then go, we'll adopt the agenda, we'll approve the minutes, public comment, reports, and then the election of officers will come after the reports, I guess. So, and the rest will be as printed. So I submit this as agenda to adopt. Does anybody have any changes to make or questions or comments? So I'll entertain a motion. I'm not sure we need a motion to approve this, but that's what we've been doing. So,
I think I move to approve the minutes from 2/22/22.
If there's no any discussion. This is agenda. This is today's agenda.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We'll take it as intended. All those in favor? We're being reminded to keep our mics nearby. So I have adoption, the agenda is adopted as amended. And then we have approval of the minutes. I passed those out via email a couple of times. Submit those for adoption. Does anybody have any corrections or changes that need to be made? One thing that I noticed just at the last minute today was that there was a typo that said February 25. I changed that to February 22nd, which is actually the day that it was. And the header there at the top, it says draft on the 9th of March. That was help us track which copies we're looking at. Maggie will clean that up as we go. So it would be with those changes, we'd be approving as it's written. Any changes? Okay. Philip with 1L.
Forward, not a problem on this today, but
Make sure it's pushed.
just all the way up. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so any other corrections or additions? If not, then I think it's already been moved.
And I'll second that too.
Any discussions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Note that Grace is participating via Zoom, so I heard her aye. Okay, so we've adopted the minutes. And thank you, Maggie, for doing them. Okay. Time for public comment, and we do have a public. Can we hear from our public if she likes?
I just got caught on camera pointing. Hello. So it's fun to be back. But one of the things I wanted to share is working on the Arbor Day event, and I notice it's under your new business. So, but just to give a quick recap of where I am on it, we do have the Chestnut Foundation is coming. Samantha Bowers is going to be giving one of the talks. So she's slated. They are going to have at least one table. And I'm hopefully they're also going to be doing some of their learning boxes. I'm going to encourage them to bring the learning boxes. We're hoping we can get as much as we were going to do in September and that we were unable to do. I'm also getting ready to get started on the displays, the two big 4x8 displays that we're going to do. I know Jean has been talking with the Heritage Center about getting some of the other environmental displays that we did several years ago. So working on that, and I'll try and make an appointment with Ben probably for next week as to what can we bring them down here. It was okay with Alex, but I don't know that he ever told Ben about it. So we'll do that. I have tons of brochures ready for a tree board table. We'll need other bodies to help person that information table. So if you all want to get up with me about that at some point, either call or email, I'll be happy to get that set up. The other thing is think about anything else you need or you think should be on the Arbor Day Foundation tree board table. I do have the display we've done over the last several years about common trees in Montreat. I've got a bazillion pieces of paper for people to pick up and some Arbor Day Foundation brochures. So I'm happy to do that. Anybody wants a sign up sheet, good place to do it, whether we're going to do a tour or Ivy League or whatever. So just wanted to throw it out there, give me a holler. And next month, since the next meeting is before the celebration. No, it isn't. It's after. That's right, because next meeting's April. So get up with me. I'll be back in April and tell you what all we did. So, yeah. Okay, I'm thinking town councils before. Yeah, okay. But anyway, that's all I have to comment on.
Thank you. And I'd just like to note for the record that Ann is the former chair of the tree board. And she's continuing to be involved with Arbor Day and also with at least some aspects of the Chestnut Foundation stuff. We still need to have more conversation and to understand what's happening where. So are you going to be with us throughout the meeting? Because we are going to come back to that a little later. Okay. All right.
He's tough. He's tough.
Okay. Well, we'll see how it goes. If we miss anything during the meeting, there'll be some follow up from me at least. Anyway. So I think that's it for public comment. Daniel Wiggs is here, and you're here for Public Works, and you have some things to say. So
I do. Good morning, by the way. I hope everybody's doing well. Is this good? Okay. I'm gonna give Barry's report for the last month here. We don't have a lot to report on, but I do want to let everybody know that during the week of March 14th, Public Works, along with the help of Kyle Patton Tree Service, was able to take down 31 marked dying, dead, or diseased trees off of our tree inventory, which was really good. We started at the gate and worked our way up to Louisiana Avenue, taking down again 31 danger trees, which was a really awesome feat for, in between 4 and 5 guys. We did prune 4 trees that were marked good, fair condition on the inventory that had some dead limbs that were kind of hanging over the road. We'll continue to monitor those red oaks. Overall health of those trees look good, so we decided to just take what was dead hanging over the road and then continue to monitor them. We received, I think it was 4 chestnut seeds from the Chestnut Foundation, which we're looking forward to. We bought the soil and the mix that we need to do that yesterday, and we'll get those in the pots today. I do need to get with you, Brad, sometime today, or we can talk right after the meeting. I will be collecting the chestnut trees from Ann's house today and be getting those in the ground, since I think we're going to get some really good rain tomorrow. And the forecast is looking pretty good. No major freezing temperatures. So keep your fingers crossed for the rest of the spring here. But I think this week, matter of fact, today would be a great day to get them in. And we had talked about some locations previously, which we'll recover those and make sure we're okay putting those in. But that's about all I have. So we're ready to rock and roll, get some chestnuts in the ground and get some seedlings potted up.
Yeah, the four seed is what you get if you join as a member of the Chestnut Foundation at the $300 seed level. And we're going to be talking about that a little later when we get to budget issues because we want to re-up with them.
Gotcha.
Okay. And we don't have a town person there. Ben is across the hall working on budget, and so is Angie. So I don't think we have a report from town administration today. Just continuing along the line of talking about chestnuts. We did receive the four seed. Another one of the programs that Chestnut Foundation has to do with it's sort of a fundraiser. You make a donation at different levels, and as a thank you, they send you bare root chestnut seedlings. And my wife and I did that this year, so we're expecting sometime, I think next month, 5 bare root plants that we'll need to get into the ground. And we may want to put one of them in our yard if we can find a good place for it. But we'll be talking with you guys about what to do with the rest of them. So the bare root, they're wild, and there's really no expectation that they will survive forever. The experience that they have been having with these is that about half of them survive, perhaps long enough to have some seeds. And so there's some potential that you've got a number of chestnut trees that, half of them will survive long enough to give you some chestnut burrs, or some people are calling them urchins because they look sort of like sea urchins. But eventually they will succumb to the various different threats that they have. But besides just as a fundraiser thing and the possibility of having some wild chestnut seeds to eat, the other reason is that it helps the foundation preserve the germplasm. So by getting seed from these trees that have been planted, continuing it on, then down the line, the germplasm from those can be used as part of the broadening of the base of the thing. And when they get to a point where we have truly resistant trees, then that genetic wealth can be retained. So that's part of it. And I think it's a good idea. It's $35 for 5 trees is what they did this year.
Brad, do they come up where a chestnut has died around the chestnut trees?
Where do they get the? I don't actually know for sure. I think my guess is that they're probably grown from seed as opposed to other forms of transplanting, but I don't really know that.
I would think they would probably be grown from seedling from some of the trees they have in stock, from some of their huge farms that they have. And because I know when we received the previous bare root stock, they were full roots. It wasn't like someone took a spade and cut that tree out of the ground. It was an actually full, they were grown in a pot, and then the soil was probably excavated around from that pot, washed and cleaned, and then sent in paper. Neat process.
So, and one other comment with my report. This last, the Chestnut Chat that happens every month. This last time it was on the different programs that they have, the different planting methods. There's a very, very rich, as they always are, presentation that they had. And I'd again really encourage anyone to look that up on the Chestnut Foundation website and view it. They're run about an hour, and there's more information in any one of their things than I can take in. But you've got a recording, so you can go back to it. However, when I went to look at the recordings from the previous month, they weren't posted yet, so they're a little behind on their process at the moment. Okay. Other chair activities. I've still been working on being organized, and I think gradually we're getting it together here, with me kind of following the pack. So that's what a good bit of my effort during the month have gone to. I've been, since I happen to know the person who's running the native plant sale this year, I'm participating that in various ways. Jean Norris is my wife. And looking forward to that, having an actual event. It does look like it's coming together pretty well. I know Jean has been consulting with pretty much everybody in the room, at least as much as she talks to me. So I think that's really all I need to say at this point by way of report. Which brings us around on the agenda in old business and election of officers. So as we're pretty much all aware, in our January meeting, Maggie was nominated as secretary for the board. And although she's still not sworn in as a member of the board, she's been very gracious in helping out with the managing of the minutes, through viewing as she's doing right now, and through the video of the Zoom, which is really a very valuable tool, by the way. I'm glad that we have it. But we come to a point where we're doing of elections of officers. I guess it's in order to say, are there any other nominations? Silence kind of suggests that there aren't. And so we have Maggie Ray nominated as secretary for the group. It's the point of order would be she's not actually a member of the group yet, but I think we can just thank her for willing to help. So she's been nominated, so I think, is there any discussion about that issue?
My personal opinion, if you can get Maggie Ray to be involved in anything, you've got a winner. So.
This is Maggie, and I'm serving as ex officio secretary at the moment. And I would like to make a motion that we elect her as official secretary today, assuming she will become legally installed next month.
Okay. Well put. Yeah. So all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. I'm muting myself now.
Aye.
Okay, so I hear a unanimous selection of Maggie Ray as our secretary. Thank you. Okay, so I've been hanging on to our calendar, bringing it out in front of us each time, just so that we can keep in mind the work that is ahead of us. And so, for example, we have under March, we have urban and community forest grant deadline. My consultation with Barry last month was that when in his conversation with who's the forestry fellow, I keep blanking on his name, Andy, yeah, is that when he consulted with Andy about because last year when we applied, it was not granted. And it seems that the reason it was not granted was because we hadn't really finished from what the follow-up to the previous tree inventory. And that is still the case, although, as we heard in our report just now, great progress is being made. So,
But great progress was made, and I wanted to add, we will be updating that tree inventory as well. So I'm sure that would help in the long run.
yeah, I was going to ask whether those maps could be updated. So my thought, but I'm open to other perspectives on this. My thought is that it's maybe premature to apply for the grant yet again this year, and that we, as soon as we kind of are caught up with ourselves, we can move ahead with it, perhaps with more inventory. The other question that's related to that is the issue of, that basically the leaning has been to not use volunteer for this thing, but to have professional organization to do the inventory. And the town is divided into sections, and we might do it section at a time. But to try to move ahead with professional tree organizations to do the inventory, we need the town to work on getting bids from companies that would do the inventory. And maybe, Ann, do you know about where that stands? I don't have the answer to myself about whether there's been actual discussions or a request for bids been put out yet. I have not seen it. Sorry. Grab the mic and hold on to it.
Take it home with.
The last I understood was that the town was going to be getting estimates. They had to put out a request for service, I think it was. I forget, there's certain initials, but that has to come from the town administration. The board cannot issue that. That's why Alex was going to be working with the public works people to try and find out who. It should be the people we used or contacted the first time we did the grant is in the file in Ben's office. Those files have to be held on to for X number of years. And we're still within X. So I don't know if, I don't believe one has been issued.
Okay. That's what
Daniel
my
or
perception, but
Barry
I
would know.
thought I might have missed something, but I'll follow up with Ben and see what we need to do next. But unless there's a different view on the urgency of moving ahead with asking for the grant at this point, I think that kind of covers it. Was there something you wanted to say?
If I remember correctly, my conversations with Andy about this a year, maybe 2 years ago, he was working to try and get a program set up with the state that when he was training, when they were training Forest Service rangers, I think it was, they would be using inventory as part of the training, conducting inventory as part of the training. And he was, I don't know if they ever got funding for that. I don't know where that stands, but it would be worth doing a follow-up. But part of the reason for going ahead to do the another grant was to find out how much money it was going to cost. And, you know, would it, he needed to know that too. He did not know how much it was going to cost to have an inventory done in town professionally. Does that make sense?
It does. I mean, what you're saying basically is that we need the bids, and it's sooner rather than later.
Well, the deadline's the end of this month.
Yes,
so,
I know for the application.
Yeah, but we needed to have estimates from 3 companies, and they require minimum of three bids to be able to choose from, so that they know what it costs.
Yeah, considering that it's the end of the month that the application would be due. Yeah. My guess is we're going to miss that. But I'll keep focused on it. I think that's probably calendar-wise all that we need to attend to at the moment. I've tried to incorporate the things that have been on the calendar into our agenda each month. That's kind of the way of operating. So planting plan. I've done a little work myself on the aspect of planting plan that a while back I sent out a memo to outline, I guess you could say, of that. I feel like I'm beginning to get a little bit more handle on what it could be, but I don't really have anything at a point that the board could do anything with at the moment. So I would just let you know that I'm continuing to work on that part of it. I would like to, if y'all agree with, I'd like to reserve some time in our meeting next month to have a little bit more conversation about planting plan and see how we can have a more clarified idea about how we've been moving ahead with that. This planting plan, in case, particularly Phil, and maybe if you're not aware, we have what's called the tree management guide. And if you don't have a copy of that, you can get it, or at least electronic version of it from the office here. It's got a whole lot of wealth of information and guidance in it about trees in Montreat. And part of it is with this planting plan. We've been having this slow motion conversation about what is a planting plan. And this thing that I've been working on is we kind of agreed that that part of it could be a briefer piece of document that is guidance for property owners and builders that would, be there for people. The total planting plan would also probably include, what the town would like to be doing about general plantings. As trees dies, what do we want to see happen, and on the public properties and all. So that would be the other part of it, I believe. When you get to that page, on the tree management guide, it's blank. It's to be filled in later, and that's what we're working on doing. But my thought here is that if the board's in agreement, we can make sure that we have some time next month to focus on that, and I will send out whatever materials I can dig up that would be supportive of that conversation. That makes sense. We're open to hearing from Maggie and Grace as well.
I personally think April would be a good month because all that's really on the calendar is a discussion of the Arbor Day. So we would probably have plenty of time.
Okay. So we'll
How much time did you, this is Grace, how much time would you want on the agenda for that? I mean, the
I
full,
don't know. I'm thinking of a conversation that would give us opportunity to have some back and forth kind of conversation about this part of the management guide, and so we can share ideas and get some
sure.
organization about it.
Yeah, I'd be happy to do my homework, and I'd be happy to have any other additional info from you, Brad. I greatly appreciate having that discussion. I think it's very important. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So moving on, new business. First item on the new business is budget. The meeting across the hall right now is, I think it's the first of the staff budget meetings. It's not being finalized just yet, but it is timely for us to discuss our budget requests for the town. I spoke to Ben a little while ago and said, once we've made some decisions, I'll be communicating with him what those decisions are. So our budget falls basically within the public works budget. It doesn't really appear as a separate piece as far as I'm aware of. But it is there built into the public works budget. And so far as I've been able to see, there's only 2 or 3 things that we really need to address. I mean, I'll leave space for conversation about that too, but the first item here is funds for, I put it as presentation material. It's funds that the board has somewhat at our discretion for producing things that we would want to use at Arbor Day or for a cottagers meeting, materials that forward the work of the board with the organizations like that. This is very arbitrary. I think that at different times it's been a different amount, but I've just put in $100 as an ask. to the town. That may be more than we need, but I think I'd rather have too much than too little. Because we don't have to spend it.
I have a question. This is Grace. Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
When you say, I understand under the budget of the tree board being under the Public Works. And if you're doing printing or any other flyers, does that mean that then you have the use of the printing materials there at the town hall, not UPS? And also, if it's $100, and what is then the budget, if you can see it, if you're under the Public Works, how do you know how much tree board? Is there a statement or a line item under there? And I know it's embedded in there, but I know it's a full committee for the town, but I've always been curious as to how much, obviously tree inventories or taking down the trees, but it looks like tree boards go ahead.
I believe it would appear as a line item within the Public Works budget.
And we don't know that amount.
Be specific to tree board and that the whatever amount we decide.
Mhm. So how much did we use last year in that account? Is that known or could?
The only piece of budget I've actually seen was from 2019, so I don't know.
There was $100 put into the budget for the last fiscal year, or for the current fiscal year, I should say. I know at least 70 something of that was used to buy supplies for some of the displays we were going to use in September at the Arbor Day. So that's what it's there for. And to pay for, I think, what have we done in the past? We pay for flyers from the Arbor Day Foundation. I'm not sure they've changed their system, so I'm not sure what it's like. And some of the flyers from the North Carolina Forestry Service have a price tag on them. And we've used some for that as well. That's a lot of what I have stashed at home, ready for the last Saturday, for the 23rd.
So
That's
from your
separate, so-
experience, and does $100 seems like it would be adequate?
Yes and no. I think this year we seem to have had a little bit more because of putting together the big display boards. But as far as getting printing done, we do as much as we can here in the office. But sometimes there are like maps, when we've done the maps for inventory, or large maps that we wanted to have, or specific items published by the tree board. If it's over the 9x13 size, then we usually have to go down to UPS. So I would ask for at least 100. Personally, I try to go a little bit more and then say you won't go less than 100, but that's me. So,
This, well, you're a valued consultant. So I'm willing to, I mean, the worst that'll happen is that they'll think it's too much and tell us no. But, so I would be willing to say 150 or.
Let's go for 150.
She said, let's go for 150.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. So let's just do this item by item. So it's been proposed that we request for this kind of publication type thing, that we request 150. Any questions or concerns about that?
I have one other question about that. in there, if there's a tree board account, is there, from what I've talked about with Darlene, if we have, like in Lancaster, we have 4 different accounts. And one that was newly opened they had to place $250 in there, and that was assumingly town money. So is money in there? I never set, it was all contributions that we have to use by the end of the year. I'm just very curious as to the transparency of where our money and what tree board is really, if it's embedded places. Because it's a concern for, people that want to know, and if they want to do contributions to the tree board or to the contributions of land care. I maybe need to be led to someone like Darlene or maybe Ben. But I think to ask for 150, yet you have so much money within the budget of the town, but we don't know how much tree board used in there, but it overlaps, I'm sure, with what the town has to do anyway, because that's what Daniel and Barry do so beautifully. I'm just always confused about the town's budget and its procedures. So I guess I'm just desiring to know if that account that you're asking for 150 has to have something in there before you can even spend it. Does anybody know that answer?
I'm going to recognize former Chair Ann.
Very vociferous member of the public. The way the money has been set up now for the current year is this is a line item in the Public Works budget. Both that and the money for membership in the Chestnut Foundation are line items in the Public Works budget. Tree Board does not have a separate budget.
Okay,
Never
all right.
has.
Thank you. Good answer.
Okay.
But we're all okay, as I understand it, to request 150 for that line item, that one line item. And let's move on down so that the other thing I have here is town membership in the Chestnut Foundation. The Chestnut Foundation has different levels of membership. You can pay $40 or whatever as a basic membership, and that entitles you to hear things from them and consider yourself a tree board member. If going beyond that, there's what they call the seed level, and you can, for different levels of contribution, there's the thank you gift that comes from the seed board, which is from the Chestnut Foundation, is in the form of these seeds that Daniel mentioned. If you get $300, there's four seeds that come. If you do 1,000, it's 12 seeds, I think it is. And it changes from year to year a little bit on what they're offering. I think there's a higher level, but I don't know what it is. It might be 15 seed membership. So that's kind of the way it works. I think at this point it would be appropriate. What I'm suggesting is that we ask the town to continue with their membership at the $300 level. Along with that, I could say is also the opportunity to really engage with the Chestnut Foundation staff,
Yes.
which is really, I think, important to the long-term viability of the project.
We can really note that this year with the Chestnut Foundation, we have a representative that's coming this year. And like you say, there's a lot of good information that comes. And I think the town staff and have really bought into the chestnut tree.
So on the table then is the chair's suggestion of recommending a $300 membership in Chestnut. Is there any alternate proposals or?
I think that's a good suggestion. Continue with what we've got done.
Did you hear my? Okay, I was asking if there any other memberships also that you've been in the past that we want to continue besides the Chestnut.
I don't think so.
And would you tell us a little bit about Arbor Day 50?
There's, go ahead.
The town has been receiving information from the Arbor Day Foundation because we are Tree City USA, and it's their biggest program. The other thing is, and I don't believe the town is officially a member of the Arbor Day Foundation, but once it strikes me as a good thing. Whether it's allowed or not, I don't know. But there are various levels of membership. You don't have to pay $400 bazillion to get the newsletters and this sort of thing. But it is out there, and I think it's a very worthwhile organization.
Yeah, they provide funds to communities for doing various tree related things. So I think there is a lot of active support there. It's a good question, and I don't really know the complete answer to it myself. And I don't know of any other organizations that we are members of or we need to pay a membership. I think that's actually should be part of our job as board, is to be working on making ourselves aware of what is out there in terms of grants that are available or memberships that are consistent with the goals that the town has. And I think at any time, whether it's budget time or other, we should be bringing forward any opportunities that we see.
And do you get that information because you're a member?
I get the information personally because I am a member. The other, and I'm going to give these to Brad, the town gets the information care of me at the town post office box because I have been the contact person for the Tree City USA application. And I'm suspecting that some of that is going to just need to get changed over.
SA each year?
The town does not pay to become a Tree City USA. It has to meet 4 requirements. And one of those is concerns the amount of money that the town spends on trees and, just the care of the environment within the community and how much that is per capita. They require at least $2 a head for the population. We've always been up in the $30, $40, $50 range per head.
Okay.
Because of all that we have done with volunteers and a lot of the services that the town and the community itself provides.
So we're not required to send any money to the Tree
No,
City.
no.
But we do need to maintain it's not membership, it's
It's a certification.
certification.
Membership
each-
would be another level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And each year we need to go through the process of applying for membership, basically.
Yeah.
And potentially along those lines, there's also what they call a growth award. So that if we do things that qualify as a growth item, broadening our services or whatever, that gives points and potentially there's a growth award that can come as well. And things that it looks for example, is do we have an Arbor Day? Do we have a proclamation? Do we have an Arbor Day? That's kind of fundamental to being
Free city.
certified. Yeah.
I think the four things in addition, the other three things in addition to the $2 per capita, like you say, are Arbor Day celebration, including the proclamation, a tree ordinance, a separate tree ordinance in the town, which was done in 2015, I believe, and the organization of a tree board or a group of the community that deals specifically with the trees. So those are the four requirements. And the Growth Award has a wide variety of items that we can do. So
But it's really not a budget concern.
No.
so.
Yeah, so I may come back around to more Arbor Day things here shortly. So this does not have a dollar amount, but I wanted to mention, I have it down as Public Works. Daniel and Barry are both certified arborists. And that, for example, was getting them certified is a thing that helped us qualify for a growth award one year. They will be doing continuing education. They need to do that later this year. And I'm not sure if is that probably not a growth award thing, but it may figure in there someplace. On the other hand, I've understood in talking to Barry and Daniel both that one of the staff there is very interested in becoming an arborist himself. Drew is his name.
Yeah, Drew Brown he's actually the sanitation department. He's very interested in getting his arborist certification as well, which is a great idea because it's all hands on deck when we do the tree work in the town. So it's more or less, water department, sanitation, streets, everybody's doing tree work. So and any addition to the list of arborists we have in the town is a great move. As well as Barry has he has to go back to continuing education for the track certification, which is tree risk assessment. And I will be joining him this year in hopes of and getting another certification under my belt as a certified arborist.
So those are examples of things that when we make our application to Arbor Day Tree City, we'll include that information, and it may raise to the level of qualifying for a growth award points.
How much do we want to put a budget amount in there for that? That seems like we've done that.
That's actually not an amount that would come to the tree board. I think it's good for us to be on record as supporting this idea.
Okay.
But that would be a budget item for Public Works. and
Okay,
Don't have to charge it against tree board in any way.
okay. Thanks.
It's a very relevant question, though.
Yes,
I think as we look at the budget, we need to realize that we're not competing with Public Works for funds, that it all works together. And the things that we see that could be outside what Public Works has in their budget, we look at. But most of it really is incorporated in Public Works.
That's helpful. Thank you.
Okay, so, so my suggestion and request is that the board approve these 3 items. One, $150 for materials for
Presentation.
presentations and such, maps or whatnot, and additional $300 for Chestnut Foundation membership. And then I'd just like to also just express our recommendation that the town also consider Drew's interest. So is there any other questions or conversation about that proposal?
I move we accept the proposal.
I'll second.
I'll second that.
Okay. Okay. So any other conversation around those budget items? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I think we're unanimous. Thank you. I'll follow up and let Ben know about that probably later today. So moving on down in our agenda. Question, when does we restart Ivy League? Again, if you're not aware of it, the Ivy League is a name that's been given to volunteers that have come together basically on a monthly basis to work on removing ivy from town right of way. And we started working our way up Virginia and have gotten a ways up there. And it's within the town right of way to dealing with mostly it's the English ivy that's growing everywhere. Try to protect our trees in that way. So it is getting to be the time of the year where that outdoor kind of work can happen. And the way it's worked in the past is that in conversation with Public Works people, Barry and Daniel figure out a day that could work in a given month. And we promote the activity, and board members and volunteers from wherever can come together and help cut ivy. To some degree, mostly it's trimming around the trees to kill the plant stuff that's going up the trees. My thoughts would be, I'd like to be able, and one of the things that we have at the plant sale would be a sign-up sheet for volunteers for that, people that would be wanting.
Good idea.
I think there'd be some carryover from last year, but maybe it's a good way of advertising it as well. So we don't have a date yet, but my thought is that if we did it, is it too late to say May? You know, to try to begin again in May.
I think that works just fine. For me, I obviously we'd have to talk to Barry and see what's on the plan or agenda for Public Works, but we're definitely in that time of year where we can start up at the soonest date possible, I think.
Let's see how many volunteers we get, and then let's work on publicizing it for May, maybe later May. So we got a lot to do between now and the plant sale.
Yeah, that's another reason to wait till after the plant sale. Things should free up a little bit at that point. Um, So, so I guess the question is everybody in favor of continuing with Ivy League activities?
This is Grace. I'm in favor of continuing. I've been recruiting some people.
So we'll have a sign-up sheet at the native plant sale, at our table of native plant sale, and we'll take it from there.
That sounds good.
Okay, so native plant sale, Arbor Day planning. Anne was telling us earlier that she's got a good bit of material. Hasn't gotten around to figuring out where the material was, so I'm glad to hear that, but yeah.
We're going to have a separate tree board table, and then she's invited us to help out with the land care tables as well. Is that right, Ann? Or is that y'all?
We'll have a tree board table at the plant sale. I don't think we'll
Okay.
try to be manning more than one table.
Okay,
But we'll have, but one thing we need to talk about is the kind of things that we want to, that we have or that we want to have on our table. The sign up for Ivy League would be one thing.
the Chestnut people will have their own tables, am I right?
They
Yeah.
will, one decision that need to be made, because I'm suggesting, we've had this idea of creating a volunteer organization called Chestnut Stewards. And of people that are engaged that want to help plant chestnuts and do other volunteer things, help find them. And the ones that are still living here in our valley, and to monitor the trees that we've planted. There's various activities that can go along an organization like that. So I'm thinking another thing that we could include either on our table or on the chestnut table, maybe both, would be a sign up for people who would want to participate in the volunteer organization around chestnuts.
That sounds good.
There are things
Brad,
like-
could I ask a question about that?
Sure, go right ahead.
Yeah, I think that's excellent thing to do. I would suggest some type of a informational flyer to give a description of what a steward is, or to be advertising it through that with the help of the Federation. But I think that's something that's brand new, and I would assume that would be something that could be an informational flyer to give to people, or who would say, I will give it to someone else. Because just a sign-up sheet to say to be a steward, I'm sure you've got a lot of wonderful information from the Federation. So that at that table, wherever you have it, have info about it. And I would promote that when you attend, or if Meredith Green, no, that's from Firewise, where the tree board chair does come to land care, that we can help you out with, with flowers, or including anything right like that, and any more information to advertise a steward and who they are.
Good idea.
I think that's a good point, having a flyer of some sort that we could use to promote the idea in the community. I think would be good, and we could use that native plant sale or elsewhere as well.
Well, for sure at the cottagers meeting, and that's where land care can be your promoter and help out with that, particularly with advertising and being under our representation, and we with you. because we want to support, all those entities want to support the chestnut trees. All the town, the college, and the people who live in Montreat want to promote and be good stewards for the chestnuts.
Yes, that's great.
Okay, good idea. So are there any other thoughts about materials that we would want to make sure that we have on the table? Let's see. I think we've traditionally had things like lists of native trees, lists of invasives. Those are probably the two biggest things, which may be already slotted to be there, but information about Chestnut Foundation. Well, we're going to have a Chestnut Foundation table, so we don't have to do that much ourselves about that. If nothing's popping to mind at the moment, I would just ask that if it does pop to mind at some other moment, and you think it's something that excites you, then let me know and we'll see what we can do about including it on our table. The native plant sale is scheduled for April 23rd, which is a Saturday, 9 to 3. Is that right, Grace?
Yes, that's right.
Okay. And we don't have to all be there all the time, but it'd be great if each of us could be there at least part of the time. We could try to schedule it, or it could, I expect that I would be there pretty much the whole time. Let me just ask then that each of you let me know about your availability on that day and what you think you might be able to do in terms of being present at the tree board table. And we'll just work
That's
it
a
out.
good idea. Good idea.
Brad, I would just like to mention that tomorrow I have a meeting with Land of Sky. And at that time, I'm going to tell, when I have comment time, I'm going to talk about Arbor Day and native plant sale. And so I hope maybe other people from other communities will be coming after hearing that.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Jane, I can send you what Jean Norris and I have for educational advertisement and flyer information, if that would help you structure anything. We're in touch with Land of the Sky with something else under land care, but certainly that board is a wonderful one for them to be able to even tell, or we'll put up even the poster there, but we have one digitally that we can send you. That we're approving today, and you'll have it in your hands just to read from if you'd like to, if that helps.
I'm afraid I've lost some of what you were just saying, Grace. We'll try to.
To Jane Alexander, now can you hear me okay? I would be happy to send her a printed info sheet of some things that we know that are going on, so that she can have a more detailed report of specific things for native plant sale. If you're going to that,
I appreciate
so-
that, Grace. Thank you.
I'll be in touch with you.
So
Okay.
that kind of concludes the agenda as we adopted it, as it's interpreted by me. Where our next meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, the April 26th, 9:30 a.m. That's a few days after the plant sale. So I thank everybody for their participation today, and if you, I have not kept notes about what different individuals said to themselves about what they think they might do. Uh, But I'll be following up on these various things that I mentioned that I would follow up on. And we'll take it from there. So I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So
I'll make
moved.
a motion to adjourn.
Okay,
Second,
okay. So all those in favor?
aye.
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 Okay, we're unanimous. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Brad.
Thank you, Brad.
Yes.